Hi guys, welcome to the channel. For you, for those people that don't know me or haven't seen the videos before, my name's Scott. I'm an expat living in Spain, and I've been in Spain now for, well, a year and a half, 2 years, if you take the two places we lived. Before that I was living in Portugal, and I know a little bit about the mistakes and the positives and negatives of living abroad. Today we're going to touch upon something that might ruffle a few feathers, but I really don't care, is estate agents. We looked at an awful lot of houses in our time in Spain, and if I'm honestly frank, and I am being honest and frank, is that I didn't find one good one. We met English ones who were agents here. We met Spanish ones, we met French ones, all sorts of different estate agents, but what they all had in common were they were useless. They would quite often not tell the truth, and don't, a caveat is I'm sure there are good estate agents there, but maybe we were unlucky. But we looked at a lot of houses, probably over 100 if I'm honest, before we found this house, and even then we had issues here. So let me take you through our experience with this house, and it will mirror a lot of the issues that you may try to avoid. So firstly, on the first day that we viewed this house, the estate agent was late. In the end, because we'd driven 5 hours to get to the house, to the area. We were on the border of Portugal at the time. He was only coming 15 minutes from the town, so we travelled all that way, got there on time, but he couldn't. It was a French chap working for a local Spanish company here in Granada, and in the end, after waiting 20 minutes, we decided to go to the hotel. He rang a few times, and we weren't going to view the house, if I'm honest, but thankfully we did, because we eventually bought this one. But during the process, it was a case of, we should be looking up to him, and their estate agent, they're doing us a favour. It was that type of attitude, and that happens a lot, okay? And one thing I will say is a lot of these agents as well are not qualified. They're working on behalf of one person, who is probably the only person that is qualified in the estate agency, so just bear that in mind as well. But this guy refused to speak English. He did understand English and speak it, but like a lot of people, they tend to refuse to speak it. I don't know why, and I don't expect people to, but I expect people to at least try to a point. But we had the ARAS contract. That's something you need to know about. An ARAS contract is pretty much a initial contract between you and the estate agents, and what we found was they were all charging 3%, okay? 3% to the buyer, as well as 2 to 3% to the seller. 6%, okay? Might be normal in America, but it's pretty sure, if you do your homework, it's actually not allowed here. And there was a ruling near Seville by a judge who said that person decided to go direct to the seller, and they didn't have to pay the commission. If you are going to go, and you do have to go down the road of dealing direct with an estate agent, which I'd advise you trying to stay away from, although it is difficult, don't pay them all their commission up front. You don't have to, okay? Argue that point. When you get further into the stage of doing the ARAS contract, just say, look, I'll pay half now and then half when we've completely finished, and leave it 2, 3, 4 weeks after that, because there are issues you will come across. I would also advise to be very careful operating and hiring a lawyer. The ARAS contract is one of the main bits. Make sure that it contains everything you need it to contain. It is negotiable. Everything is negotiable, no matter what they tell you. Bear in mind, they also all use the same software. I've noticed on Idealista, which is the main platform in Spain for looking at property, or one of them, that you can have one property listed with 20 agents, which is crazy. But if you view it with one agent, well, that's it. You have to stick with that agent. It's very difficult then to change. So just bear that in mind also. But with us, when we moved in on move-in day, all the light fixtures and fittings have been removed, which is a bit of a pain. So there was a lot of a lot of not telling the truth. Things like the land at the back not being buildable. That's the land behind me that you can see. This is the back part of the house, and it is, although it's would take a long time to get that in place. But the reality is that you will find that they will not tell you the truth, and then if they get found out, they will then blame the seller, saying, "Oh, well, that's what we were told, by the seller." And they're only in it for themselves. So just bear that in mind. They're not your friends. They're very smiling assassin. The ones that I met. But my biggest bugbear is the 3% they try and charge the buyer. That is really frustrating for me. And I would hope that you don't end up doing that. And no matter how many people say it's the norm, it's not. Okay, they're trying to make it the norm because they'd love to get that extra amount of money out of you. But don't be fooled as well by these people on Facebook saying, "Oh, I recommend X, Y, and Z company as a lawyer or an estate agent." Just do your own searching, finding, and try and find a house. A lot of them, are just smell the money type people because they see expats as a money earner, and you've got to really, I know it's frustrating and it's a little bit, it's not nice to say, but that's the reality of Spain. You have to have your wits about you. So yeah, my main tip is try and go direct. Try and look for a house direct with the seller, and there are some websites. And if you do see a house you like, don't contact the agent in any capacity. What I would say is try and find out where it is, because it's not difficult, and go and knock on the door. So that's one way around it. And don't try and get too help on all these ones that are sold by the banks. A lot of them. And another thing, what happens is a lot of estate agents list properties that are either sold or they haven't been, they're about to be sold, and they keep them up because they want more emails, they want more contacts, and then they'll say, "Oh yeah, sorry it's gone, but we've got other properties." And that happens an awful lot as well, so it can be a very, very frustrating process. I have heard of this new 100% tax coming in. I don't know if it has come in or when it's going to come in, so keep an eye on that for people outside of Europe if you're buying. And that's the reality, so just have your wits about you. I've said that on other videos, and just be careful. And that's it. But if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm often putting videos on to help other people and show what our experience was, good or bad, and hopefully you'll make that decision. And it really is a lovely place to live. Once you're through the administrative hassle and you've settled, it is a fantastic place to live, honestly. So keep at it. So thanks guys, thanks for watching, and have a good day. Bye bye.